Welcome to Catalyst webinar. We're excited to present to you today the success story of Quick Weight Loss Centers. And here with us is Melissa Faukner, VP of Marketing for Quick Weight Loss Centers. Melissa, thanks so much for being here and joining us. It's great to have you.
Thanks so much, Jem. Happy to be here.
Well, thank you. My name is Jem Swartz, partner at Catalyst Marketing Agency. I'm just going to hand it off to Melissa here in a little bit, and just wanted to let you all know that we started working with Melissa and her group at Quick Weight Loss Centers a while back to really envision what the new brand might look like to the outside world, and how do we refresh a company that had been around for some time and make it more relevant to new customers that we were trying to go out and attract. So Melissa, want to talk to us a little bit about Quick Weight Loss Centers and what you guys are trying to do?
Yes. So Quick Weight Loss Centers has helped thousands of people lose weight over the past 30 years. And what QWLC does that's really unique is it takes the best parts of many weight loss programs and combine them together to create a winning weight loss program. It required just no calorie counting, no prepackaged full meals, but it does give you a personalized weight loss program, and you meet with counselors on a daily or weekly basis so they can help you through your weight loss challenges. And we support our members long after they actually lose weight, up to a year after. And so that really set us apart from some of our competitors, which included Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, and South Beach. And what we really were looking to do was to enhance our brand perception, attract new members, and retain our current customers longer. And so given that goal, we had a few things that really mattered to us when we were looking at Catalyst to be our strategic partners. And so we wanted really strong strategy built into every idea and execution. And we really wanted fresh and creative and disruptive creative as well as execution to really set us apart from those competitors, as well as looking for a really strong analysis and tracking and optimization and test and learn environment to help us grow and expand and move on to the next level. And why we chose Catalyst to be our partner was that we really wanted a partner to come in and to learn our brand from the bottom up and ask strategic and hard questions to help us figure out how we needed to grow. And they really took our goals to heart, and they continually surpassed our expectations and surprised and delighted us with their execution. And it really set them apart from a lot of the other vendors that we were looking at and made our relationship with them so strong.
Thank you, Melissa, very much. I'll just spend a few minutes here talking through the work that we did on the behalf of Quick Weight Loss Centers. You know, first we really looked to refresh and revitalize their brand. As a company that had been around for 30 years, you can imagine that it just needed to be updated, and it needed to feel more modern and aspirational, especially as we were going up against a lot of the big brands that Melissa just walked you through. And as a part of the initial work, we developed a strategic go-to-market plan, and that plan was really intended to do two things. One, certainly, is to drive net new members, and the second is to get existing members who had been in the program to stay on the program longer, because we found that for every week that a member stayed on the program, they were much more successful at not only losing the weight, but keeping the weight off. And that level of success, made them essentially our brand ambassadors. So this gives you a sense of the look and feel that we launched on behalf of Quick Weight Loss Centers. You can see that, it's much more kind of bright and lively, very aspirational, and we really wanted to showcase real food. One of the things that Melissa talked to you about is their big differentiator, is certainly one of many, is the fact that you can eat food that you can buy at a grocery store. You can eat with your family. You're not having to buy frozen food. You're not having to have food delivered to your home like some of the other programs. So this was a really big part of their approach that we wanted to highlight. And as a result of launching a new website that told that story really effectively, we are proud to say that we increased website engagement by 12%. And then as a part of the brand refresh, we launched a new email campaign. And as you can see here, the look and feel is certainly consistent with the new brand. We were not only building brand equity, but also wanted to be promotional in nature, because you can imagine as a consumer, you're getting emails all the time and you expect to save money and get some deals from the brands that you interact with in that space. So what we've been able to do with the email campaign is drive 37% of their internet transactions on the e-commerce site. And then when we think about a go-to-market plan, we really start first with who is that target consumer. In this case, we called her Linda, and we defined her both demographically and behaviorally. We really wanted to get in her head and map her mindset against each stage of the buyer's journey, from awareness all the way to advocacy. And advocacy really being the holy grail for us. And in doing this kind of work, we're able to develop assets that really speak to Linda and her cohorts, and gets her to then act in the way that we would hope at every stage, and essentially convert her better and faster. And then as a part of defining who Linda is, it's also understanding what channels we should use to communicate that message so that it resonates. And we took an omni-channel approach, first with TV and radio, with out of home. Certainly social media was a big part of the plan, as well as digital banner ads. So while it was an omni-channel approach, we really worked hard to make sure that the creative was consistent throughout, that the tone we were using was in keeping with the new brand we had just launched, and that it would ultimately cut through and really make people pause whenever they interacted with each of these touch points. And as a result of that, we were able to drive 19% more traffic to the website pre versus post campaign. We increased online new member acquisition by 20% year over year. We were able to drive significantly more calls. And this was a very important KPI for the executive team, because the thought here is that people would see something, get interested, and then pick up the phone and ask questions, and ultimately make an appointment to go to one of the 38 centers of quick weight loss.
And what Catalyst was able to do for us was execute an integrated omni-channel marketing campaign that really leveraged the new and vibrant, fresh look and delivered strong calls to action across all channels. And as a result, we saw an increase in call volume, which in turn drove more leads and met efficient cost per lead benchmarks and improved our month-over-month member acquisition goals.
Thank you, Melissa. We're certainly really proud of the work. It was very collaborative, and some of the things that we did for quick weight loss, I hope we were able to showcase for you today. But to recap, we really started with a strategy, and that consisted of a marketing plan and really quarterly action plans or sprints. We worked on the branding with everything from logo to style guidelines to the messaging framework. The media planning was a really important part of our work together, and really trying to identify what are the right channels, how do we execute in the best way, how do we optimize, and as Melissa said, really implement some tests and learns to make sure that we're constantly improving on what we're seeing work. And then from a creative standpoint, really thinking through both online and offline, how do we create a consistent experience throughout that whole process for the target consumer. And then with a new website launch, really starting first with a strategic site map, thinking through what is that user experience, what kind of creative do we use to tell the story, and then how does the copy really capture the attention of the person on the site and creates that emotional connection. And then understanding that a website isn't done the day that it's launched. We also worked on the SEO piece with monthly reporting and consultation to constantly improve the website to make sure that it was meeting the needs of the users coming to the site, but also doing, essentially what was best from a Google perspective so that we ranked as high as possible. And then for social media, really thinking through what are the topics we want to talk about month over month, what other bigger cultural trends are taking place that we want to latch onto, what sort of weight loss tips do we want to be able to articulate, not just to our existing members, but hopefully new members coming into the centers every day. And then on email marketing, really thinking through the creative and the testing. Did it matter that we were sending on a Monday, Wednesday versus Tuesday, Thursday? Did it matter what time of day? So that constantly iterative approach was something that we thought was critical to maximize that channel. And then last but not least is really tracking the performance with analytics and reporting out to the executive team the significant data points that we wanted to be sure that we were leveraging to improve upon the campaign and constantly optimizing to really increase the ROI. So thank you everyone so much for joining us today, and special thanks to Melissa for your willingness to spend some time with us and tell the quick weight loss story.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jem.
And for those of you who are looking to get some help with creating and or executing your marketing campaigns, please feel free to contact me. You can reach me at jem@catalystmarketing.io. Thanks everyone.